So I'm going to be talking about the University of Maine at Augusta, which is where I am, Field Placement 1, which is one that I need done because of transferring. It's weird. I need both 1 and 2. So Associate of Human of Science, Mental Health, and Human Services. This is the table of contents, which tells us what each page really has. Explanation of fieldwork. This fieldwork experience is an opportunity to gain practical work experience in your major field of study. You will have numerous opportunities to create and establish professional connections between your academic coursework and practice. Faculty members will guide you through the course learning objectives and will work closely with your organization to mentor your involvement and progress. You will not be left alone. You may ask, what is the overall purpose? Apply your skills and knowledge that have been acquired through your coursework. Acquire new technology skills that are often individualized within an organization. Build professional experience related to your chosen career. Employ and strengthen your community skills. And build constructive, healthy relationships. Review what professional and personal competencies are needed to further develop in your transition to professional life. Course description. This placement course offers students the opportunity to work under supervision in a public or private sector agency for 8 hours per week for a semester. 112 total hours, which is 3 credits. Application of knowledge and skills acquire in your coursework. In addition, a preparation course, HUS 223, is required. Minimum grade of a C is required to this course to meet degree requirements. So prerequisites would be a matriarch in the associate's or bachelor's degree program in mental health and human services. Human Services 101, Human Services 125, Introduction to Substance Use Disorder. Human Services 212, Case Management. Human Services 218, Community Mental Health. Human Services 230, Interviewing Skills in Human Services. And 223, Field Placement Preparation. In addition, the faculty highly recommends the successful completion of HUS 316, Applied Professional Ethics, which I've done all of that. Minimum of 45 credit hours are required to enroll in HUS 270 Placement 1, which is what I need to do next. Learning outcomes. Upon successful completion of this course, students will be able to engage in a range of experiences in mental health and human services work under supervision, perform entry-level professional tasks within the field placement setting, practice appropriate ethical behaviors as applicable to the field placement setting, prepare a comprehensive portfolio of coursework in the field placement experience. In addition, this course will satisfy the standards set forth by the Council for Standards in Human Services Education. Provide a brief description of an overall process and structure of the fieldwork learning experience. Provide evidence that 1 academic credit is awarded for no less than 3 hours of field experience per work. Demonstrate that students are exposed to human services agencies and clients early in the program. Provide a copy of the current manual and guidelines that are given to students, advising them of field placement requirements and policies. Provide documentation of written learning agreement with field agencies that specify the student's role, activities, anticipated learning outcomes, supervision, and field instruction. The agreement must be signed by the appropriate agency director, fieldwork supervisor, program instructor, and student. Provide a syllabi for required seminars. Seminars must be no less than every 2 weeks. Seminar hours must be included in field experience hours. Provide evidence that required field experience is no less than 350, may include 250 from associate's level. Clock hours of field experience within at least 100 of these clock hours occurring in the juniors and senior years. So this is the contact information for the field placement liaison team. You have the Professor Kim Lane, her office phone number and email. Diane Lamy, who's the associate professor. Jonathan Bowen, who's assistant professor for the mental health in human services. And then you can mail here at the college. So if you need any of those, I will take a moment. Okay. And then we have the academic policies, which they go over for every class that you have. And then what academic integrity means. The student's work is a product of his or her own effort. Violations of academic integrity include such behaviors as cheating, fabrication, and plagiarism. And described more fully in the UMA Student Academic Integrity Code, which is published in the online UMA Student Handbook. Each student is responsible for learning the standards of the academic integrity and ensuring that his or her work meets these standards. Failure to do so may result in appropriate sanctions consistent with UMA Student Academic Integrity Policy. If you have questions about the academic integrity of your work, discuss these with your instructor before submitting the work. The full policy can be found right here at this really small thing, or you can just type in UMA Student Handbook. And then ADA accommodations. If you have a disability which may affect your ability to participate fully in this course, it is your responsibility to request accommodations promptly. Contact the Learning Support Services office of your campus or coordinator of student services at your campus or center to discuss possible assistance. Accommodations must be requested each semester and are not provided retroactively. And then you have the Title IV statement, which is the University of Maine at Augusta is committed to providing an environment free of violence and harassment based on sex and gender. Such civil rights offenses are subject to the same accountability and support as offenses based on race, national origin, etc. If you or someone else within the UMA community is struggling with sex discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, relationship violence, or stalking, you can find the appropriate resources at this one below. Okay. Now we get into some more stuff about field placement. So, the primary roles and responsibilities of UMA. The primary role of the UMA and field placement site is to provide supervision and guidance during the semester of the student. UMA representatives will guide you through the process. UMA has a field placement director who may assist students in arranging for placements and ensuring all required paperwork is for contracts, MOUs, with the placement site. Placement information forms are due 7 weeks prior to the start of the semester. This allows for the necessary contracts and liability agreements to be in place prior to starting. The field placement director and assigned faculty will monitor all placements with regular check-ins with site representatives and supervisors. Once or twice each semester, a faculty member will be in contact with students' on-site supervisor. These contacts may take place by video conferencing, phone conferencing, and/or in person. UMA representatives will manage the screening, placement approval, overall supervision, and the grading/evaluation of the student. Faculty are here to support this placement. Primary roles and responsibilities of the organization. The primary role of the field placement site is to provide supervision and guidance during the semester to the students. In addition, communication with students, faculty, and program coordinator is expected. Such communication may include email, phone, video conferencing, end-of-semester evaluation, and on-site visits. A minimum of 1 hour a week of supervision. In addition, provide students with information of the completion of the placement information form to create a contractual agreement. Within the first 2 weeks, create a learning plan with students. Provide students with professional opportunities to develop and increase skills to enhance marketability. Provide the tools and resources for students to complete required tasks. Advise students in job-seeking skills. Counsel students in dealing with problems that might arise. Consider providing students with a letter of reference. Treat students with the same level of respect and professionalism afforded to employees. Advise students in job-seeking skills. Counsel students in dealing with problems that might arise. Consider providing students with a letter of reference. Organizational benefits. Having a student for UMA at your organization may be many afford benefits. So early recruitment, access to current concept and ideas, supervisory and mentoring by organizational staff, advantages from passionate and knowledgeable students and faculty, bringing on extra staff to address projects, develop a relationship between your organization and UMA, reduce training costs by inviting students to share their training. UMA students tend to be adult learners, so in case you are getting in experience of multi-career students. Supervision. Schedule on-site supervision sessions weekly. Supervision must have a bachelor's degree in a related field. Provide feedback to students effectively. If need be, intervene if any issues arise. Evaluate any assignments required. Provide periodic phone or email contact with on-site supervisor. A minimum of 1 hour per week of supervision is suggested. Provide students with professional opportunities to develop and increase skills to enhance marketability. Evaluation of student and the field placement site. Coordinate the completion of the performance evaluated. Review learning contract at the end of the semester to determine the degree in which students met their goals. UMA provides this form. We appreciate your willingness to support our students as they enter a new career path. I feel like I'm reading the same thing again. It says organizational benefits. But anyway. Yeah, this I already read. Tend to be adult learning, blah, blah, blah. So they have it in here twice for some reason. Okay. So then we move on to primary roles and responsibilities of the student. UMA provides a field placement preparation course to orient the students on requirements and expectations. This will require students to explore potential organizations at least a semester prior to enrolling in this course. Field Work Placement 1/2. It is during this course that students begin to explore a secure field placement and seek agreement with the organization. Students locate their own field placement opportunities. Students, and then it goes back to the top. Hold on. Students are responsible for acting in a professional manner consistently. Placement information form must be an electronic submission to field placement coordinator 7 weeks prior to the start of the semester. First week, students must communicate to assigned faculty member immediately after the first week of the field experience by email, and each week thereafter, an email is required. Second week, students must submit their learning objectives signed by their field supervisor to the faculty member by email or assigned Dropbox. Students will attend video conference seminar sessions during the placement led by your faculty member. Students will be prompt with assignments. Students are required to complete 112 hours. Students should follow the organization's policy and procedures. Students should conduct themselves in accordance with the policies and procedures of the organization. Students must verify that their supervisor will have a bachelor's degree in related field for 1 hour a week. Students must arrange for 1 to 2 field visits between UMA faculty and placement. Students must reach a minimum of a grade C. Students will share course documents when appropriate. Students will handle themselves in a professional manner. UMA will work to have open communication with all organizations. Some communications may be restricted due to FERPA guidelines. So field placement oversight, schedule on-site communications, provide feedback to students effectively, if necessary, intervene if any issues arise, evaluate all assignments required, provide periodic phone or email contact with on-site supervisor. Timeframes, field placement occurs all year long. Fall semester, which would be September to December. Spring, January to May, and May to August. Students should provide organizations with an academic calendar. On-site supervisors should discuss the organizational holidays and academic calendar to arrange a mutual schedule. The total hours required must be completed during the semester enrolled. Learning outcomes will need to be approved by your faculty instructor, as well as your on-site supervisor. In the final weeks of field placement, a site evaluation will be provided to site supervisors with hopes that students and supervisors complete it together. Academic credit. Students will only receive academic credit for work successfully completed at the organization and in the seminar. The purpose of this field placement is to apply theories, concepts, and skills acquired in the academic classroom to real-world situations. While the students are in their field experience, they will be assigned a faculty member to track their academic progress and award an academic grade. Placement-specific learning objectives. The placement evaluation is preset with important objectives for all students. There is space for specific objectives students are seeking to complete. These learning objectives should help create the expectations for students to create a clarity of what students can expect to learn and establish timeframes. Possible learning outcomes examples are demonstrate professional and ethical behaviors by following confidentiality guidelines, assuring clients' rights, and maintaining personal and professional boundaries. Demonstrate ability to communicate with others effectively and supportable. Practices effective, respectful, and supportive communications with clients and/or colleagues. Accurately completed daily, weekly, appropriate progress logs for clients, consumers, documenting behavioral observations, subjective data, and goal progress status. Choose one appropriate word from the brackets. Completes clear and accurate documentation as required in a timely manner. Advocates for and support clients as appropriate while maintaining boundaries. Practices positive interaction with collaborative resources, including knowledge of and referral to services as appropriate. Provided a safe, supportive environment for all through listening, maintaining behavioral limits with positive guidance, and encouraging appropriate expression of feelings. Provides case management according to agency policies. Demonstrates understanding of agency protocol and procedures, professional behavior, acting in a manner consistent with values of human services practice, respectful communications in all settings, observe and maintaining confidentiality, refraining from self-disclosure, maintaining personal and professional boundaries in all areas, complying with agency policies, procedures, regulations, and federal state laws governing the internship setting. Follow the organization's personal policies, including professional dress. Field placement students may be paid or unpaid. This depends on the organization and the field coordinator. If the field placement experience is the student's current job, UMA encourages additional functions that advance the student's learning during the placement. Background checks must be initiated by the student if there is any question. Student will need to pay for background checks as well. So, concerns for field placement sites. To get started, consider the following questions for your organization. What do we want to accomplish from our field work placement? Where can the most value be achieved from this placement? Who is the best suited to be the contact person for our placement? How will we measure success as a field work provider? Where will the student be located within our office? What is needed to set up an adequate workspace? What academic skill and background do we expect of the student? What other professional experiences can we provide for a student beyond day-to-day work tasks? Then we move on to 8 steps of getting started. So 1, identify your goals for the interim. 2, develop a job description that you would like to fill within your organization. Determine if the field placement will be paid or unpaid. Determine when you will work will start your program, summer, fall, spring. Communicate the field placement position to the UMA MHHS. Determine your selection method. Interview the candidates and determine if there is a good fit. Like any candidate, potential interns possess different strengths. It is important to assess each candidate with respect to the available position. 7. Schedule a mutually agreeable start date and develop expectations regarding the intern's ongoing work schedule. Assign a supervisor and communicate with your contact at UMA. The more prepared you are for this field work placement, the more maintainable your placement may become. So then we have a orientation checklist. We encourage a placement orientation to all students. The following is a recommended checklist to assist the students in developing a level of comfort from the beginning. So familiarity with the location, ensure that the student has a place to work, office tour to locate restrooms, copier, conference room, lunchroom, introduce students to key employees like reception, department staff, coworkers, discuss clear expectations for communication, field placement information, determine supervisor times, assign a person for day-to-day questions, discuss time recording, policies and procedures, complete necessary paperwork, review P&P, address key protocols like dress code, professional behavior, correspondence, issue keys, identification badge, other codes that they may need, organizational information, review the mission, values, and organization structure, discuss relevant history and objectives, consider internal and external opportunities to exposure the student to meetings and events. So, frequently asked questions is 1. How do I locate potential field placements? Possible sites and organizations were discussed in Field Placement Preparation 223, which is what I'm in right now. The students and instructor will discuss ideas of possible placement sites. Word of mouth is a great source. Talk to your classmates. You are seeking field exposure in private and non-private agencies that provide human services to diverse population groups. What are my first steps once I find a site? You need to complete a placement information form to begin to contract between UMA and the organization. There needs to be 7 weeks lead time to get contracts and liability coverage at your placement. How many hours do I need to schedule? For HUS 270, it's 112 hours at 8 hours a week for 1 semester. The work hours are not scripted, but dependent on you and the organization to work it out. Can I get paid? You must be able to satisfy the following criteria. If you have had this position for less than 6 months, or you have additional responsibilities. Can I finish early? You must clock 112 hours. The contract covers your liability for the full 14-week semester. How do I handle agency vacations and shutdowns? Talk to your site supervisor about arranging for makeup dates. Plan in advance, whenever possible, by communicating ideas for makeup times with supervisor. Let your faculty know of any concerns. Where can I do this placement? Anywhere that meets the learning outcomes and that gives you the professional experience you're seeking. This could be a nonprofit, state agency, etc. in Maine or out of state. So this has addendums, but there seems to be nothing here. So then we go on to this, which is HUS 270, Fieldwork Placement, Mental Health and Human Services Evaluation. All material will be uploaded through Blackboard or Google Drive. Blackboard will have an assignment folder for each requirement. So we have weekly assignments, journal that summarizes the field work, and then weekly self-care practice. And then you have bi-weekly attendance and participation are required, topics for discussion, semester assignments, a narrative describing the fieldwork placement, 3 narratives that demonstrate the application of course knowledge and fieldwork experience, which is part of your portfolio. A time log is required. 2 professional letters of recommendation are required, and fieldwork placement evaluation. And then this is just a guide you can use to record your hours on the week of blah, blah, blah. So there's 14 weeks. So you just put week 1, what you worked, total number of weeks, student initial, supervisor, this is the placement information form that they've talked about. So semester field placement began, blah, blah, blah. Full name, number, student ID, placement site, mail affiliation agreement to blah, 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 blah. And then the signatures that you will need, and that is it.